I'd like to call this regular council meeting and work session to order for May 2nd. Would everybody please rise for a moment of silence? And let's remember Horace Schmidt, who passed away, was a florist in town. I think their family for like 100 years. They owned a flower business in town. And we had a Mrs. Cucci who passed away. Lillian was 100 years old.
Oh, God bless.
Just passed away. And Patrice
Torres, who had the Patrice House of Hair in the Harriman section of Bristol for over 40 years, had passed away this week, well, 2 weeks ago.
And let's remember all of those who passed away during the month in Bristol. And let's also pray for the horrific accident that took place on Saturday with Ellen Scancella's grandchildren in the car, and there were 7 kids in the car. So let's keep them in our prayer. They're pretty banged up and major surgeries that a few of them are going through. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. President?
Here.
Ms. Cohen has a family event this evening. Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Present.
Ms. Figueroa?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Petroci? Mr. DiGiuseppe?
We're going to open up with, I think the mayor wasn't feeling good also this evening, so he called in and said he wouldn't be able to make it tonight. So I'm going to open up with, we have people here to speak about getting married. So you want to go to the podium and introduce yourself to Linda, Register of Wills.
Thank you. Good evening. I have some flyers to pass out, if I may, as well. Do we just have those, pass those forward? That's okay?
Sure.
There you go. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Linda Bobbert. I'm the Register of Wills and Clerk of Orphans Court, and I'm passing on some flyers to you for part of what we do in my office. We do marriage licenses. And I know that last month you have a new police chief that you brought in, and that kind of fits in with why I'm here tonight. We decided that...
He's not getting
I'm not trying to marry you off.
Shook me up for a minute there.
Just in case, you might want to consider it.
I heard she said no anyhow.
Yeah.
I asked him and he said.
Did you hear what Michael said, Linda?
Yeah. So I don't want to push anybody into anything.
No.
One of the things we do in my office, though, is marriage licenses, and we do discount them for veterans and first responders. So we thought about in our office, what else can we do for the people in the community who do so much for us? And we decided last year that we would like to offer free weddings to veterans and first responders. And one of the things we did around Veterans Day last year was to offer a free wedding. So in November, outside the courthouse on the lawn, we did a free wedding for veterans and first responders. So we wanted to do a whole big event. So we had our officiant, who you all know from Bristol, Patrick Murphy, former congressman, former undersecretary of the Army, was our officiant. But we wanted to do the real thing. We had music, we had flowers, we had musicians, we had photography, videography, the whole thing. And we asked only that at least one of the couple be a veteran or first responder. And we married 5 couples up in Doylestown that day, and we had a beautiful ceremony. If you go on our website, there's a video of the event. It was really a lovely event. And we called it Vows and Veterans, and it worked out really, really well. And we took that idea and we expanded it to the public in general. So on Valentine's Day of this year, we did Vows and Valentines. And we married 16 couples, and we did vow renewals for an additional 9 couples that day. And again, the whole thing, soup to nuts. We did an entire wedding. But near and dear to our hearts is veterans and first responders. So we decided we'd like to do another program, and we came to you, Borough Council, and that's why I'm here tonight, because we'd like to do it in Bristol. So we talked to your president and your township manager, and they agreed that on Flag Day, June 14th, that we could do our program here in Bristol on the waterfront at the wharf. So we are doing what we're calling Vows and Valor. And it's going to be veterans and first responders again here on the waterfront. So it's time now for anyone who might be interested to apply for your marriage license through our office. This is the time. They're good for 60 days, so now June 14th isn't very far away. So anybody who might be interested in getting married should email us at our office, emarriage@buckscounty.org, and that information is on the flyer that I gave you, or by visiting our website at buckscounty.gov/marriage licenses. Get in touch with us, and we will bring tents if necessary, tables and chairs, and we work with the community. Everything that we do for our weddings is done through donations. We don't pay except through donations. We accept money donations, but we also work with community partners. All the flowers, the music, the photographer, videographer. If we pay them, it's because we've gotten money donations. But a lot of the stuff that we do is through just donations from businesses in the community. So if anybody would like to donate goods and services or money, again, it's on the flyer how to do that. They can get in touch with me or get in touch with my office to do that. We're happy to speak to anybody who would like to do that, but that's how we put it all together. It doesn't cost the county a penny other than the time that General Services puts into setting up the tables and chairs. So we are excited to work with Bristol Borough to do this on the waterfront. It's going to be a beautiful event, and we're really looking forward to it. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it, but we're really excited about the program.
Just so you know, Linda called me for several months.
I did. I bugged you.
And then we finally had a meeting to discuss this, and I explained to her, we don't let everyone just use the waterfront because it would be tied up every day.
Right.
So this was a during a week thing, just for a couple hours, and they're making a sacrifice to, do all this hard work for volunteers, for first responders, and I said, you know what, we'll lend a helping hand and go out there and do what we can do, because they did it up in Doylestown. They are coming down to the borough, and we have a beautiful waterfront and everything. I even watched the video, just how nice it was. So I give you a lot of credit for everything you're doing, and I commend you on, hopefully this is a big success and we get a lot of people married.
I hope so.
And
Thank you. I encourage you to go to our website. The video is there from the last one that we did, and you can see what a great event that it was, and I'm sure this one will be as well.
And what'd you say, Linda, noon or something?
It'll be 1 o'clock on June 14th. It's a Tuesday, so it's not like we're interfering with a
Right.
weekend event, so it's a Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock.
All right, it'll last a few hours.
Yeah, 1 to 3. That's what we anticipated.
Right,
to be,
1 to 3.
Right.
So if anybody knows anybody that wants to get married, and this is the time and you're a first responder or
Right.
military, it'd be a great time to, I think it'd be a pretty nice event.
It'll be beautiful. And the location, what you guys have done with the waterfront, I mean, it's second to none. So it'll be beautiful. We don't even have to decorate it, so we're excited about that as well.
We'll put this up on our TV channel
Great.
so people can see, and we have the press here, so I'm sure they'll get it out also, so.
Great, appreciate that.
Does anybody have any questions for Linda?
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public, who else?
Linda Reeder from the SPCA.
Oh, I'm sorry, Linda. Who Linda's?
Yes, good evening.
One's
How are
marrying?
you? Linda Baldwin is on our board, actually, so I know you have to scoot, but you know all about the SPCA.
I do. I'm sorry, I have another meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a moment of your time tonight. My name is Linda Reeder. I'm the Executive Director of the Bucks County SPCA. I put a few things in front of you, but I will say that we are a very old and long-time organization in Bucks County. In fact, we're 110 years old. We are as old as Lifesavers, as Girl Scouts, and as Oreo cookies.
Wow.
We started in the community Oh, sorry. Oh, it's, well, you didn't want to hear all that anyway. I'm not going to say it again. We are very active all over the county. So we are a private nonprofit. We are not funded by tax dollars. We are not funded by the ASPCA in New York City. We are not a branch of them, and we get $0 from them. So everything that we do for the animals and the families in the county is done by our own donations that we raise, and that's a lot of my job, is fundraising. But every year I also look at the statistics of every different borough and every different township that we go to, and I wanted to put them in front of you and meet you for the first time. So we work closely with your animal control officer, Bill Palmer. We like him very much. And we accept animals that he brings to us, day or night, and there is no charge for that. We do all the work for the animals that are brought for us to get very good outcomes. We now have a 94% live release rate. We've had that for more than 3 years now. So that does qualify us as a no-kill shelter. But we accept things like lost pets that are found in your community. And if you'll look a little bit at, these are services just from 2021. Some of them are brought by your ACO, Animal Control Officer. Some of them are brought in by citizens to us, residents. We also investigate animal cruelty or animal neglect. And we receive nearly 500 reports of animal complaints against animals, against animal cruelty throughout the county. There were 15 animals removed from borough residents under warrant this year. We actually investigated 11 cases, and there's a breakdown there. There were 2 abandonments, a dog law violation, 1 feral cat colony, 6 reports of animal neglect, that would be lack of food, water, shelter, or veterinary care, and 1 report of physical abuse. We also have a new program of surrender prevention that I'm very proud of, and that's where we assist owners in the community, and we assisted 2 borough residents this year that are unable to take care of their pet but want to keep their pet. So we provide things like temporary housing or medical care for those animals until they can get their pet back and be okay. So we do that as well. We have low-cost end-of-life services. Only a hamster used that this year. I thought you would find that humorous. We also, but it's open to dogs and cats, of course, as well. And then we distribute thousands of pounds of pet food to area food banks as well. The closest one here would be the Middletown Township Food Pantry. Over 2,000 pounds of pet food donated, because we don't want people who are getting human food there to give their human food to their pet and make them go without. So we want to make sure that there's pet food at those shelters for the people to take care of their pets. We also offer some services that your residents have not used. We have a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for cats. It's $45, which saves people about $200 to get cats spayed and neutered. We have a free behavior helpline for people that are struggling with animal problems and they need guidance that's expert. That is free for anyone in the borough. And then we offer dog training classes too. And there's a little map on the back of where the cruelty investigations were. The borough's right down here. It was 12. And then that's, we also, I feel like what we do is help the community stay safe, because many of the animals that we deal with are friendly and many of them are not. And we have a shelter in Lahaska and another one in Quakertown that has barn and pastures for farm animals as well. So we can pretty much handle anything. I'm very proud of our staff. I'm proud of what we do, and I would respectfully request the borough to consider making a small donation towards our work. You don't have to run a municipal shelter because we run it for you, and we do everything sort of on a handshake. We spend an average of $656 per animal as the care. We have our own veterinary staff to care for them. And I'll end with one quick story that happened last week. Sometimes stories are more effective than just stats. So we got a call from somebody who saw an injured puppy in the woods. And so I sent 2 of my staff out to capture said puppy. Said puppy was very thin and had a badly broken back leg and was dragging it along. We were able to capture the dog. We quickly got it splinted. started the dog on fluids and pain medication, posted it on our website in case an owner was looking for the dog, and then within 4 days, we had the dog to a specialist, got that leg in a cast, didn't have to have surgery, hooray, in a cast and on cage rest for the next 6 weeks so that little pup can heal. That's the kind of work we do, and we do that every day for families and for animals all over the county. So would respectfully ask for you to consider at some point making us a donation. Most municipalities and boroughs make a small donation towards our services, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but we love working here.
We appreciate all your work and everything you do for the borough. So why don't you come up, and Mrs. Rodriguez has a check for you.
Oh,
How's that?
that's never happened.
Well, it happens in Bristol Borough.
Only in Bristol.
I thank you so much.
So on behalf of the borough president, Mr. Dillon, the mayor who's not here, and all of council, we'd like to give you a check to help you
Oh, well,
and
thank
continue
you.
your hard work, and we thank you for everything you do for our
Well,
town.
we enjoy working here a lot, and thank you all very much. I'm overwhelmed.
By the way, the check was for $500. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Anybody, public participation, anybody on this side of the room want to speak on anything, go to the podium and state your name. Anybody on this side of the room want to do it? Bill, wait 1 minute.
Right?
You have anything?
Yeah, if you want to go first.
No, Bill, he'll go after you.
Yeah, go ahead. Hi, Jesse Walker at 320 Brook Street, resident. And I guess I just wanted to ask about the money that's going to be the $50 million in the sale of the sewer system. And I was just curious about what's going to happen with that money and what's the process to decide how to use that money, and what are the restrictions on how it's used?
I think last time you were here, we discussed this, and I said, when we do go to settlement, which I don't even know when that's going to be, and we do get a check, it will go into a restricted account, and at that time, we'll have some public comment and meetings on it, and there'll be a committee set up throughout town with council and citizens of the borough, and figure out what's the right thing to do and how to move forward. So until then, I can't even answer I have nothing else I can.
Well, thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, I think last time you were here, I said the same thing, so. We have no idea when settlement will even be.
Thanks.
When do you think it's going to be? Next couple of months?
Go ahead.
July, maybe? July, maybe, so. Mr. Pezza.
Thank you, Ralph. Good evening. Bill Pezza, Bond Street, president of Raising the Bar. Good news tonight. The fact that we get discovered all the time by having these weddings, people want to reach out to us, is really a good feeling. It's heartwarming. I have two pieces of positive information to share with you tonight. One, that on May 14th, we're having an event on Mill Street called Nashville on Mill. We wanted to bring music to the street, and what's going to happen that day, it's a Saturday, from noon to 2, there's going to be live music on the sidewalk of the following establishments: the King George, the Cantina, Dad's Hat, Hops and Hardware, Naked Brewing, and Eatery Woodfire. They're all going to have, at their expense, they're all going to have live music on the sidewalk. It's going to be a very festive afternoon without any closing of the streets or anything like that. And then from 2 to 4, with the borough's permission, we're closing the 100 block of Wood Street, and we're using the courtyard of Calm Waters and Maestros to have a live band on a stage. It's free, and it's going to be a real festive atmosphere. So we're pleased about that. There's been a tremendous response to it on Facebook, and we wanted to let the public know via the television channel. And thank you for the borough's cooperation in letting us close that street. Incidentally, that block offers a good opportunity to have festivities without infringing upon the entire street and dealing with SEPTA and buses and all that stuff. So that's something to keep in mind for the future. The second thing is relatively new. I just got the phone call this afternoon. You know, success breeds success. If you remember, several years ago, we had the Clydesdales in town, and it was the largest turnout of people ever in Bristol Borough. I know we always talk about the crowds that we get for different events. This was unbelievable. It was shockingly tremendous turnout. And Matt Cassano, a former borough resident and a representative of Budweiser, called today to say that they'd like to come back. And we'd like to have the Clydesdales here on Sunday, May 22nd. That's pretty quick. I've already talked to the chief. I've talked to Merle. It would be a direct route. They would meet at Simon & Schuster. They would come down Farragut Pond, turn on the mill, and then down to the river, turn onto the river where the horses will be on display for a longer period of time. You know, we have to work out the logistics and the traffic control and all that. It's not a long event in that, you know, once it passes a particular area, the street can be reopened up to that point and so on. You know, we'll work all that out. But with your permission, we'd like to do that at no cost to the borough except whatever incidental things we have manpower about.
So when you called me today to discuss this and asked what I thought, you know, we would move forward, I automatically said I don't think anybody from council would object to doing this event. So, I mean, we discussed this today about moving forward. I talked to Jim and said, come in tonight, talk to council, put it on the TV channel. So we have a lot of things we want to advertise, because it looks like we're going to open up with, you know, people getting married and Clydesdales and country music. So, and we're going to have Celtic Day coming in June. So there's a lot going on, and we got the Jazz on the River. The AOC's has that coming. So there's a lot of events.
Ralph, there's one more. I don't want to step on their toes. I guess it's done by the Bristol Cultural and Historical Foundation and Mark Giswaldi. You know, he always has a car show at Snyder Girardi on Historic Bristol Day. But this year on July 9th, and I'm sure you guys are aware of it because they're advertising it, I just wanted to put a plug in for them in advance. On July 9th, they're going to have a combined boat show, car show at the riverfront. So there's going to be like 40 boats on display and antique cars, and it's going to be a fun thing. I'm sure Mark will be up here, and you're going to be hearing more about that from their organization. Right. So are we good to, I can contact Lisa, and we can start the ball rolling?
What time you want to do this on the 22nd?
I don't know. They wanted to know if we're receptive to do it.
It's really 2 weeks, right? 3
Yeah.
weeks, right, so.
3 weeks, yeah.
Bill, the
Yeah.
only thing I want to say, I'm just looking at the events that you start to touch on some of them. That morning from 8 to 1, there's a religious event down there at the waterfront that we signed off on.
Okay, 8 to 1.
Yeah, so if you can.
All right. Well, then let me see, we'll just have to tell them if they're going to do it. It has to be.
Yeah, but if they start at
Yeah.
10 o'clock or 11 o'clock,
Right.
by the time they get to Mill Street.
Yeah. Yep. Good. Thank you, Jim, for that. That's, you know. Questions or concerns or suggestions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Let's do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. People know where Bristol is, and they're calling us, which is a good thing, right? All right, thank you very much.
All right. So, my suggestion is maybe we get Matt to put up an event page on the
Yeah, I think we should.
TV channel, and Mara, I think we have it on the website already, right? With most of our events. So let's try to update that daily and put it out on Facebook, so everybody knows what's going on. Chief, you got a lot of things coming, buddy. All right, so that ends public participation. Chief, what do you have for us?
So I gave everybody a brief monthly report, so I'll just touch on a couple other things. So we started the bike patrol this month. We participated in the nationwide drug take-back this past Saturday. We had officers in the Borough Hall, and we had an officer over at the Grundy Towers collecting unused medications. Officers from the borough participated in the opening day Little League Parade over on Jefferson Avenue up to the ball fields this month. We also assisted with the Liberty Bell Wanderers to walk around Bristol earlier this month. And then on the bottom, There's a list of officers that attended mandatory training, first line supervisor training, crime scene training, officer shooting training, street crimes training, and a co-responder training was all done this month. And just to end it with the co-responders started last week, they're in place, and we already are referring clients to them. So we're on our way with that program.
So, you want to just touch on the co-responder program, just a little bit about what it's about?
Sure. We're sharing 2 mental health social worker advocates with Bristol Township, Bristol Borough, and Tullytown Borough. So what happens is if we have a incident where we feel that we can use the co-responders, we either call them in or we can do a referral to them and they will come in like they did today. We had an incident the other day up on Benson Place. We did a referral, they came in and they will do all the follow-up work and they'll help the people that we think that need help with certain issues with the resources that they have throughout the county.
That's good, we need that.
It's a great program.
We're trying a co-op program for, 2 years?
2 years,
We
yes.
made that 2-year commitment, and council voted on that. So I think it's going to be good, so we just, see how it works. The other thing is, I just like to, I don't know how we get the message out, I guess, to thank everyone that participated Saturday in this accident. I mean, there were so many squads that showed up as far away as, they were coming from Pendle, Bensale, and taking people to different hospitals. And I think there was a training session going on that morning, which we were fortunate to have all these people in the area to respond that quick. And Joe, you were here for the Take Back program.
Yes.
And you were on site immediately and stayed. And so I want to thank you personally because I know how much time you put in Saturday. But the rescue squads, the firemen, the paramedics, you just can't imagine. It looked like a scene from a movie. I mean, there were 50 or 100 people trying to take the roof off this car to get these kids out. And
They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
They did.
And we're so fortunate. And we just need to keep everybody that was involved in our thoughts and prayers because there are some serious injuries.
Yeah. I don't think anybody, I'm sure they do realize how fortunate we are in this town to have people that volunteer their time, that when that bell rings and they need to be on a scene for a fire, for anything, how they come together and respond in minutes. I mean, they're here. So this town's very lucky to have everybody.
Even DA Weintraub showed up. He came across real quick.
Yep. So hopefully these kids will in time heal and put this behind them and move forward. But our prayers are with the families and everybody. But I want to thank all the people that responded to the scene.
And I want to thank you, because I know you were there, and you were letting us all know what was going on, and that's important. You always seem to find a way to show up and help out, too. So thank you, Ralph.
Actually, if I could say one more thing, showed up and helped coordinate with the borough public works workers. We needed them to even come in on Saturday, so we should thank them also
Yes.
coming in on Saturday
Yeah.
to help us late in the afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I say something to Joe?
Sure.
First of all, yeah, great job with all of that. It's such a tragic event. I just wanted to put on your radar, I went to an event for Commissioner Harvey. A couple of us went last week. And just in passing, I've referenced, the issue that I've been asking about a lot with homelessness along the Route 13 corridor. And, I asked if we could maybe start coordinating a little bit with the county and yourself and these new, what are they called again?
Co-responders.
Co-responders and these new co-responders. And the next Monday, I got a call from the Director of Housing and Community Development. His name's Jeff Field. And anyway, we didn't speak. We actually played a little phone tag, but I would love if we could kind of put our heads together with you guys on the local level in the county and, and Jeff Field and see if we can't at least come up with kind of a coordinated strategy with the new with the new staff as well to see what we can maybe do about that area.
So Dylan, Merle, myself, Representative for Pendle Mental Health have the wheels in motion.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Thanks, Joe. Okay, Michael, you have anything?
I just want to remind everyone that the street cleaner is doing an excellent job. Our town's really looking nice and clean and crisp. So please remember to get back into the habit about Thursday and Fridays, what side of the street you can park. And keep that in mind because it's just important. It allows the whole street to get clean. I do know that they do sometimes circle around and people will move and they'll do it. So please keep that in mind. Also, with parking, the free parking, which is over 400 spaces, is available to park now. There's still things that have to be done with lines and things, but you know, you can park there. But more importantly, please make sure that you take a look at the meters on Mill Street. You know, they've been there for many years and we kind of got out of the habit of, or we've gotten used to them not being enforced all the time. Just keep in mind that it is a 7-day, 9 to 9 commitment to put the quarters in there for a half hour. Just make sure that you abide by that. Otherwise, you know, a ticket will be enforced. So it's just a reminder to tell everyone that, again, that is the 7 days, and you could take a look at each meter to see, as a reminder on there, but just keep that in mind. And I think that's it.
I just want to thank the chief for all the patrols that have been out over the past few weeks now. It's very obvious, and I think people are getting the message. They're driving a little slower down Rackler Street and down Bath Street, and they're stopping at the stop signs at Otter Street, so it's, when people know you're looking, they're a lot more cautious, so thank you very much. This is what we need in town.
Is that it, Louis?
That's it, yes.
Maria?
I agree with Lou here. Thank you. I also want to thank Mr. Dillon for the great job that was done in the alley of Buckley Street. I've gotten comments. They are very happy. So again, thank you. And I also wanted to remind everyone in the North Ward that when you reach out, there are some things that I can get taken care of right away. Other things take time. So just have patience. I know that the North Ward has been neglected a little bit and needs a lot of love. It's going to get the love. It's just going to take some time. So just have patience. And again, things, you know, some things can be taken care of right away, but some things are just going to have to take, you know, back burner a little bit, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to get done. So basically it.
Brian, you have anything?
I just wanted to thank Joe for the patrols around in the North Ward. I seen someone get a ticket in front of my house the other day. I was kind of proud because they run that stop sign all day. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Last month, Councilwoman Cullen, myself, the borough manager, Ralph, and some residents, and Merle, met with Congressman Fitzpatrick, who was gracious enough to come personally, as well as his assistant, on Trenton Avenue to view kind of the unique situation pertaining to the trains along that corridor. You know, there are challenges that they admittedly said that it's very difficult to deal with Amtrak and the railroads, which I think we all know. But we are working towards some sort of palpable resolution. I would not indicate at all that that problem will ever officially and fully go away. It probably won't. But we are trying to, communicate with them on a personal level first about the fumes and the noise of the trains that idle there. And I think we have gotten a little bit of a response, honestly, just over the last couple of weeks. It seems to have settled down a little bit. Now, admittedly, I'm not home during the day, so some people might have a different perspective on that. But I do want to let people know in that area, it was kind of a last-minute thing, so I sent out as many messages to people around there as I could, hoping that the word would spread a little bit. And we did get some residents, and it was nice. But we'll try to keep you in the loop. I also, though, took that opportunity to grab the congressman and ask him to walk under the Green Lane Bridge with me. I wasn't going to let him go until he did. And he was surprised by what he saw down there, as I think we all know. It is a gateway to town. I think I've talked about it every meeting for the last 6 months or so, and I won't stop until we can try to figure something out. One of the things he referenced as a challenge that, again, we kind of know already is that you've got a railroad bridge, which is probably federal. You've got a state road, which is definitely state, and then you've got a sidewalk, one side of which is Bristol Borough, the other side of which is Bristol Township. And it's almost as if we have a tough time of kind of really figuring out the whole lay of that land. But I saw two kids, innocent kids, just having a good time going for a walk, climbing on the wall. If you know what I'm referencing, if you're going under that bridge and you look to the left, there's just this rust puddle of water. And it's so bad that you literally cannot walk past it. And it's just something that, and not only does it really, really look horrible as a gateway to our town, and it does, it also seems unsafe, because when you've got kids making decisions about how to get around that, and you've got Green Lane traffic coming down, it's still a concern. And it's brown and rust and clear, like there's this weird clear water, and it just doesn't look healthy. And I also alerted the congressman to that, because it's my firm belief that whatever that puddling is coming from the trains. And I'm not, again, claiming I have a solution, but I can tell you that, again, with the borough manager and his help, and he's trying as well, that we're going to continue to try to figure that situation out down there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Eddie.
Thank you, Joe, for your hard work. I saw a lot of pictures of you at the schools and the cops at the schools during our rec programs with the kids, and I like to see that they're showing up more, and especially at the schools here in the morning, I see the cop cars, riding around or parking and watching the kids. It's really important, because people just don't want to abide by the law, as we all know anyway. But thank you for that. Being able to visualize cops being out there with the kids is really important to me. On that, I also want to say congrats to Pat Sabatini, who won his fight on 4/17/21. This kid, I call him a kid, but he's a grown man, continues to show this borough just how well he's doing, and I support him 100%, because we've known him since he worked in our summer rec program, and now he's out there making strides all the time. So congratulations to you, Pat Sabatini. I wanted to see if we can look into behind Niagara Pools, where they closed down. I don't know who owns that building, but to the right where the parking lot is, it might have been like a tent city. It's really messy back there. Lots of tents, lots of furniture, lots of trash. And I don't know who's responsible for that, but I'd like to see someone look into that. Also, on Otter Street, I believe it's the 500 block, but I'll let you know tomorrow, Mr. Dillon. Right before the soccer fields, it's like somebody threw a grenade. There's potholes like all over the place. You have to zigzag all over when you get to that one block. So if we can try to patch them up a little bit. And then I know it's really important to have trash cans like underneath the train tracks and everything, but I don't know how long we can continue. Like this weekend, somebody, I don't know if they pulled their car over and decided to empty out all their trash, but it was in the trash can underneath the Bath Street Bridge, and there was like pieces of furniture, and they're supposed to be for when you're walking by and you don't want to throw the trash on the ground, you throw it in there. But I don't know, I just find it to be a nuisance, if anything. and I don't know if I would ever vote to keep them there, and that's just me. And then, Mr. Dillon, I'm going to email you on a problem that I'm having on Swain Street with a driveway that's kind of being neglected, but it's causing problems to the neighbors. Trees hanging into their yards. I did explain that if it's hanging in their yard, they can take care of it. But they're saying they sent a letter and they haven't had a response. So I'm going to give you the names later privately and the information so that maybe, and a phone number so maybe you could respond to them, because I just heard about it this weekend. And we could take care of that issue. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Amtrak had 3 men, maybe even more today, out on the Bass Street overpass. They were working there.
Are they?
Well, there were at least 3 trucks. There might have been.
Yeah, it's just so, one is dirty, and then the trash cans are supposed to be for your personal trash, you know, your little cup or whatever, and it seems like people are just, I think they're pulling over and emptying out their trash. And it's just, you know, it's nasty. It's nasty. It makes it look bad, and that's an entrance, a gateway into Bristol, my street, and I would like to see it cleaned up. So that's it. Thank you.
I got a few things. First of all, not to jump on what everybody's been commenting on, Joe, with the police department. It's one of the hottest topics right now throughout town. No matter where you go, all you hear is how your guys are working and doing their job, and they see police cars all over town. People that walk the path.
Bless you.
God bless you.
Bless you. Thank you.
People that walk the path say they see police cars, people that are walking through town. So I think your men have responded to you becoming chief, and I think it only can keep getting better in this town. So
Yes.
They're working hard, I can tell you that.
well, they're working for you, so that means a lot. Okay, I'm going to jump around. Street lights. There's so many street lights that aren't working or going off and on in town. We need to figure a way either to put one of our guys, get young Bogie or Stephen Wade to go out at night, pay him to go out and ride around for 3 or 4 hours and just start writing poll numbers down. The cops can do it. But I came down Canal Street the other day. I think every light on Canal's out. Turned on Washington, there's lights out on Washington. I know in my ward, there's a lot of street lights. All we need are the poll numbers so our guys can fix them. And I always say every year to the residents, we're paying for that light whether it's on or off. So if you could just please call the borough and let us know if the street light's out or if it's going off and on. There's decorative lights that are out throughout town, so that's one thing if we can get done, I think really would change, especially with kids, you know, running outside at night and playing. Summertime's coming. The Mill Street parking lot, as everybody could see, is mainly all paved. We are having some issues with some of the sections down there that we're not happy with. That's something that our engineers are dealing with. But everything is paved right now. Everybody's using it to park again. But we're not going to turn it into a junkyard again. We're not going to have people just park trailers and park vehicles down there that they're running businesses out of. So the cops are going to stay on that down there, and if there's vehicles that don't belong there, they're going to be towed. So if we got to get the proper signage up, whatever we need to do, we're going to do it. And we want to keep it clean. I mean, if you're walking down or you're going through and you see trash on the ground, pick it up. I mean, it's very easy when we have so many people coming in from out of town, and even our own residents that walk around town, we should try to keep this town looking as clean as possible. I think the overall appearance of every town means a lot. It shows you what kind of people live here. It shows you what you're trying to accomplish as a borough. I mean, I drive through towns, I work in different areas. You see how people take care of their properties, their tree base is, the weeds are pulled, even if it's not mulched. They pull the weeds, they make things look good. So I said this for years. It doesn't cost anything for somebody to sweep their sidewalk, and even if the day the street sweeper's coming by, and you sweep it to the gutter and let the street sweep, you don't even have to bend down and pick it up. But, I mean, you gotta take some pride in what's going on. I mean, we only could do so much as a council. So if you could just make an effort to try to get something, get your property, or your neighbor's property, maybe she's elderly and she doesn't go out, to sweep her sidewalk, try to do it for her. Or if there's some weeds, I went by Finney McGee's the other day, and they were out there squirting the curb line for the weeds, and every time you go by that property, it's very well maintained outside. They do a nice job on that corner, so I think if we all look at other businesses and people's property, it does, like I said, it don't cost anything to do this. You know, sidewalks, you know, just go out, you know, take 5 minutes out of your day and pick it up or sweep it into the gutter for the street sweeper. I talked about the street lights, trying to get them all working. I think Michael touched on the meters a little bit on Mill Street. So we have passed an ordinance that says meters will be enforced from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So if you're on Mill Street from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to meet and you're parked there, you need to put a quarter in a meter. We don't need to say when the meter person's going to be on Mill Street, who's working Mill Street. When you go in New Hope, you don't say, is the meter person out today giving tickets? No, you get out of your car, you put a quarter in it, and you go about your business, which it costs a lot more to park in other areas. So we're only doing this because the Business Association came to us years ago and said that people are parking in front of their store all day long, and they can't get business into their establishment. So now we're enforcing the meter so cars move. You don't have cars sitting out there all day. So we're doing the best we can. We're trying to get new meters that take credit cards. All the meters now, I think, Mr. Dillon, are for 4 hours. So people that are in either the eye doctors or they're getting their hair done that takes longer than, or shopping in an antique. I talked to Susan and sometimes they're in there for 2 or 3 hours. Well, now they can put enough to stay for 3 or 4 hours. So, and it's a quarter. Think about what we're talking about. Somebody putting a quarter in a meter. So we're doing what we can do. Eventually we want to work on getting new meters and relining the street and make everything right. All right, that's it for now. One more thing. I think eventually, and I think was mentioned about what are we going to do with some of this funding, and I don't even care about the $50 million. I think what we need to do is, you come into town and the first thing you see is the Little League fields. I think we need to fix them dugouts up. I think they need to be painted. The roofs need to be put on. The bathrooms need to be painted. I know it's a complex, but it's our complex.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, as soon as our guys get some time and where we got to put some of this out to bid, we need to get new signage, and maybe we could talk to who's doing Michael, you're got to do like the dugouts, maybe we could put a mural on it, on a signboard, and, you know, baseball players or something, and we need to make the fields presentable. And at some point, hopefully we're talking about doing stuff for recreation, maybe we need to light up some more of these fields. So, I mean, that's down the road, but I think, right now, I think the doors are, I mean, I'm down there a lot, the doors are rusted out, the face boards look bad. We need to start sprucing this stuff up. So I'm going to meet with Jim if nobody has any objections to try to come up with a schedule of getting some of this stuff done when our guys have some free time to go down there and get stuff done. And if they can't, maybe we got to get somebody to do it. So I think every time I come into town, I look at them fields, I go, travel to other games and you see the sign, you know, whatever little league you're at, and everything looks nice and pristine, so, even the bleachers. I mean, you know, we're painting wood that's, God rest his soul, from when Junior Fields was back there. Maybe we need to put some aluminum bleachers up that, because you don't have the crowds that you used to get anymore. So maybe we buy a set or two of bleachers and we redo them. They painted them before, it didn't dry for 5 days. People were sitting on wet bleachers. So we need to get it done. I think it's something that we should make top priority. Things like that, people see. So, all right? Mr. Dillon, what do you have?
Betty, you touched on Otter Street, just for the council's information. Aqua will be coming in this year and installing a main down Bass Street and then down Otter Street out to the creek.
Okay.
So hopefully, as part of that project, we'll get some of those sections of roads repaved, so that's part of our goal there.
Thank you.
Amanda, can you touch on the MPDES MS4 improvement that we have to do in time?
Sure.
And if there's an application available in case council wants to apply for the funding?
Right. Yeah, just for the benefit of the new council members, so the MS4 program is through DEP. It's for the municipal separate storm sewer system, so basically all of the borough's inlets and piping throughout town. Since 2003, DEP has regulated the maintenance of those facilities, and the borough has been in compliance with permit requirements ever since then. Through this permit cycle, which ends next year, there's a requirement, or a mandate, if you will, to do some sort of construction project to reduce sediment within our town. We have identified a few options, and it does seem like there's one in particular that could be of benefit at this point, which is constructing a vegetated swale in between Howell Street and Green Street, so sort of following back behind the Otter Street fields. There's a grant opportunity available through DCD that we could apply for at the end of the month in order to potentially construct this with very little funding from the borough. With that, there's also potentially an opportunity to, I would say, piggyback on some of the work that PICO has been doing in that area as well. They've done soil remediation, I'd say, over the past 4 or 5 years now, in response to that gas plant that they used to operate off Linden Street. So they started obviously at the Goodwill Fire Station. I think everybody kind of remembers that remediation, and they've been working their way behind, in between Green and Howell Streets ever since. Their next phase is probably somewhat in that location that we're looking to construct this project, so we may be able to sort of partner with them this year or into next year. So there is a grant opportunity, as I mentioned. It would cover most of the $200,000 that we're estimating this project could cost. There'd be a 15% match requirement from the borough, so roughly $30,000.
Oh, that's great.
And that's due at the end of the month if council, would like to consider that.
Now, I know that on Linden Street, behind the fire company, there's a lot of vegetation down there because I know some of the residents on Linden Street get upset because when it rains a lot, it all floods down there. Is that part of that vegetation that you're talking about, would that be resolved back there also?
So the project that we would consider would almost be at the intersection, I would say, of Maple and Green Street, kind of starting there in between Howell and Green and working towards the borough property at the Otter Street fields. So probably not exactly in the area you're talking about, but that may be something that PICO might still be looking at, I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
I think PICO's wrapped up this phase now.
Yeah, they've
I was involved with them behind the building on Green Street, and they finally, it's a long drawn out process, but they're finally They said they were finished with it now, so. But they thought they were finished with it 2 years ago, and then I guess somebody came along and said, now you have to do a little more.
Right, I know they are still doing ongoing testing and investigation, so, yeah, we do have, kind of a standing call set up with them, in the next month or so to find out what their next steps are.
Now, is Adams Hollow Creek eligible for anything on that? Because this is where the house washed down on New Cedar, but down on the other side of the creek, it's washing out underneath. There's some walls there, but it's undermining because the current is so fast because they only pipe part of that creek in.
Right, so unfortunately for this MS4 program through DEP, they don't want any hard armoring, constructing walls, riprap, that sort of hard armoring of stream banks. Mm-hmm. They want vegetation. In that situation, we need some sort of wall or something structural in order to actually replace that. NRCS, in collaboration with DEP, is actually agreed to come in and repair that specifically in that area. I don't know at this point the exact extent of what their project is, but we can certainly discuss with them if there's any other areas that we need to have them take a look at. But they have agreed to repair that.
Thank you.
Amanda, one day, if we do decide to go after these grants and you're in town, I'd like to go down there with you so you could show me what exactly that area is that they plan on working on.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Authorize the filing of the application.
Okay. Do we need a motion with that, or?
I think it'd be good.
We'll put that on the agenda so we could make that a motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Dillon, what do you have?
In your packet were the list of all the events that we have presently scheduled in the borough. I want to thank the Chief Moores, Merle Winslow, and Lisa for following up and maintaining the list. And we will put it on the webpage and the TV. But there were a few that were not mentioned this evening that are occurring between now and your council's next meeting. So one is the Bristol Elks is going to have a benefit for Trooper Martin Mack barbecue event Saturday, May 7th from 1 to 6 p.m. Also, the Bristol Borough's Farmers Market at Mill Crossing starts on Sunday, May 15th, and it'll go through October 9th, all the Sundays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That'll be fresh fruit and vegetables. Also on May 15th, from 8:45 to 12:30, there's going to be, I don't know, about 1,000 bicycles coming through town. It's the New York City to Philadelphia bicycle ride for 2022. It's the East Coast Greenway. They're trying to come up with a national trail, but they will be stopping, coming down Mill Street, stopping at the Waterfront Park for a few hours, resting and drinking their water, and then heading on to Philadelphia. So it should be quite a sight, and I think Merle has really bird dogged this over the last couple of years. And the Bristol Lions summer concert starts on June 5th from 6 to 8 at the park, and so I think that's about it. And also the Sunday strolls, instead of the first Fridays, the association's going to have Sunday strolls, the first Sundays of each month. So that'll be June 5th, July 3rd, August 7th, and September 4th from noon to 4 p.m.
Mr. Dillon, is Susan the contact person
For the
Sunday strolls?
Yes, Susan.
Okay.
Yes. That's it.
That it? Bill, you have anything? Excuse me. Anybody have anything before we go into our regular agenda? The only thing last thing I want to say is I don't know if anybody's walking the path. Probably if April was a bad month, it would have been done by now. Along Lenox and behind all the homes on the path behind the new homes, all that lighting will be finished. The landscaping will be done and flowers will be planted, and it's going to be a nice area to now walk. And I think they're also going to put a couple benches in along the way if people want to stop and just sit down and look at the water. So that all should be done hopefully by now, the end of May. It was supposed to be done for May, but like I said, April was not a good month. All right, so any more public participation? That ends that. Number 3 on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of council meeting minutes, March 28th, 2022, April 4th, 2022, and April 11th, 2022, accept the treasurer's report for March 2022, accept inspection report for March of 2022, accept the fire chief's report for March of 2022, and accept the HARB report for April 2022.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of a resolution adopting a policy for harassment-free workplace environment.
Second by Maria. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the resolution amending the land development agreement and escrow agreements with reference to the Island View Crossing 2 land development approval.
I have a second by Mr. Petrosi. Questions or comments? You want to comment, Mr. Sawyer?
So as most people know, several years ago, the developer filed for bankruptcy, and the trustee has operated that project. Fortunately, he got it moving. If you go over there, all the townhouse buildings are up, even though they're not completed. I think over 50% of the units have been sold. There's many more under agreement. He's coming close to finishing that portion of the development. The trustee also has installed the lights on the entire path. They're now working on the embankment, like Ralph said, the landscaping. The trustee, I don't think, ever intended to do the whole project. Part of his job is to find other developers to finish the project. Fortunately, they've entered into an agreement with another company to purchase the condo side, to build the 96 condos. In order to do that, we have to reallocate the escrow and make sure that all the escrows are going to cover all of the public improvements. Our engineers have been working real hard for 4 weeks on that, and just today we've reached an agreement, and we needed that in order to proceed, because we want to make sure that between the new owner and the trustee that everything's going to be covered. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to begin negotiating new agreements, amended agreements, and outlining the escrows, getting the letter of credit, because the buyer is interested in going to settlement very quickly. He indicated he thought he might break ground in July or August. So this is really good news after 2006, after 16 years. Hopefully this project's going to complete it. The borough will receive more taxes, and we could take that off of our list of things to get done. So this is the first step in order for us to get this property transferred to the new developer.
Is the design the same as it was when they originally applied for?
What they've been approved for are 6 buildings with four floors of 4 condos, 96 units. If they want to do something different, they'll have to come back in the borough and to council for land development. Their intent at this point is to do the same thing.
Yeah, nothing has changed. And I think the owner said he's going to come in June to talk to council. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to add something to the agenda.
You can just go.
Can I just add it? All right. I'd like to make a motion to file for the grant application for the Bristol Borough MS4 improvements, PICO MGP site remediation discussion, not to exceed $3,000.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
Yeah, I have one thing. Happy Mother's Day to all those beautiful mothers out there.
Very nice. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
By Mr. Catroci, second by Brian. You're going to have to post that.